This is the matchup that you can't miss. The number 7 seed Tennessee Lady Vols taking on the Ohio State Buckeyes as you were watching the NCAA softball regionals presented by Capital One. We're going to see the power for sure as we take a look at the Ohio State Buckeyes lineup presented by Capital One. Jasmine Burns had 2 home runs yesterday. 2 of the 6, 5 different players for the Buckeyes knocked it out of the park. Hadley Parisian was among that company, the sophomore who leads it off. And the lefty fouls it back. This is a program who has seen amazing success. Parisian was very familiar with her coach, Karen Kumar. She came over with her from Miami of Ohio and continuing to do great things as everyone's talking about these Ohio State Buckeyes. On the 1-1, and it's now 1-2.
This has been the storyline, I think, for both you and I. Knowing we were headed to Knoxville was the opportunity for these 2 teams to go head-to-head.
On the 1-2, and Pickens picks up the first strikeout of the game as she's retiring Parisian, first batter she's faced.
You can talk all day long about the speed of Carlin Pickens in the circle, but in chatting with her this weekend, coming into this tournament, I had asked her, beyond speed, what is the part of you that makes you so deadly in the circle? And she talked about the changeup. It's the fact that she can pull the string, the contrast between the off-speed pitch that you saw the swing through against Parisian to lead off this inning, got the K with the off-speed, but it's that setting up against the 78 mile an hour. That's an NCAA record this year against Arkansas back in March. If you've been watching college softball, you know that name. You know the name Carlin Pickens. She has been the sweetheart in the circle, so dominant all year long.
And going against Jazzy Burns, the 0-2 pitch. And a player who has just lifted her game from her freshman year to now. The sophomore out of Menifee, California. Both of her hits yesterday, as we mentioned. Both solo shots going up, chasing, can't catch up to it. 2 Ks.
This is a pitch, you know you're gonna see this pitch. Specifically a team that elevates the ball, that looks for that letter high strike. Pickens is gonna climb that ladder. She's gonna challenge you in the eyes. Gets the swing through against Burns, who went yard twice yesterday in game 1.
Kenny Quartercracks, who's searching for her first hit of the weekend, the senior out of Westerville, Ohio. Brings in a ton of experience to this Buckeye team. And Quartercracks lifts this one into center field. Kenzie Fiedler gets it, and a 1-2-3 inning as Carlin Pickens picked up a couple of Ks. We'll see the balls, bats coming back. So here we go as the center fielder, Kenzie Fiedler, leads things off for the Lady Vols, a senior out of Lee's Summit, Missouri. Was 1 for 2 yesterday, had a double, and scored a run.
You mentioned the 18 innings of experience. I mean, looking at this pitching staff, you've got 3 freshman arms, and then Kennedy K in the circle here, redshirt junior, had the only 18 innings ever thrown on the collegiate landscape for this entire pitching staff. I mean, of all the areas of newness for this team, talking to head coach Karen Kumar, as they call her 2K, and I mean, we went in depths with 2K about the pride that she has in this pitching staff, what they have done this season. It's been because of the resiliency and the courage of these arms.
Credit Lauren Boutte, the freshman, picking up her 20th win of the season. A player like Kennedy Kay has helped taking her under her wing. And again, 4 previous seasons at Miami of Ohio, great success. This is her 5th straight NCAA tournament appearance. This time she's donning an Ohio State uniform. For colors as Fiedler is able to hit it into the right center gap, and Kinsley Fiedler leads it off for the Lady Vols with a stand-up double.
A lot of patience at the plate and patience with timing. This is a ball that's out and away at bat, and the fact that she's able to see this pitch deep, she's not out in front. It's a 55-mile-an-hour off-speed pitch. Doesn't get the hands out in front of the stance. I mean, that is patient leadoff approach.
Well, one of the question marks, and I think you alluded to it, this Karen Weekly just said her players were just tired of hearing about all the outs-out noise of where the offense was for Tennessee. They were averaging better than 6 runs a game going into the last 8 games of the season. She says everybody in our clubhouse was well aware of what our offense could do, and they came out throwing punches yesterday, and now you see Kinsley Fiedler continuing on with that. And you saw that quick change from Kieran Kumar, a defensive swap with infielders up the middle.
Yeah, you see Farley now standing at third base. Buick standing at second. We saw that change happen yesterday in day 1. It's a situational shift for this team. I think the wild thing, though, is yesterday we all learned a little something new. I had assumed this was just a situational shift, right? No need for there to be a report to the umpire. But they actually were called for a lack of a substitution, a lack of communicating that defensive change. An out was erased off the board. We were pulled back to home plate. And an inning resumed. And I had a chance to talk with some of our umpires in charge. Called our girl Vicky earlier today, Van Cleek.
And what's going on?
What's up, girl? And I got the whole rundown. If it is a clean swap, it does require a report to home plate.
Savia Morgan back to Kennedy Kay, who throws it over to first. And doing her job well is Savia Morgan. And now Fiedler 60 feet from home.
So, you know, the conversation you and I were having yesterday was, we at times see that defensive shift just like against Savia Morgan, a speedster from the left side. Sometimes you'll see the center fielder come in to stand on the dirt. You're the 5th infielder, but the fact that there would be a position open in that specific shift is why it is called a shift. But when you see 2 defenders simply swap spots, that does require a defensive change at home plate.
And now you saw Kumar go back out, so they swapped back. Farley at second, and Buick returns to third. Here's Taylor Pannell, and Pannell, the third baseman, who is having an excellent year, first team All-SEC selection. 0 for 2 yesterday, had a couple of walks. This team awarded 9 walks yesterday to help fuel that offense, and Pannell sends this one into right field and deep enough for Fiedler to tag up, and she's safe. First run on the board, RBI sac fly for Taylor Pannell.
The home run leader for this team, and frankly the leader at large for Tennessee's offense the latter half of this season has been Taylor Pannell, a redshirt sophomore, was derailed with injury early in her career and has buckled in her sophomore season in a massive way during this postseason run. And that is fundamental softball, to know that you need to go opposite field behind a runner to score that run is big time.
And first pitch swinging, Sophia Nugent left field. And they're gonna say it went foul as Lady Vols fans were ready to cheer on home. Nugent continues to bring the power. She had a 2-run shot yesterday to go along with a double, and just
wow.
wow, that's
from our vantage point, that looks pretty darn good.
Long and deep foul ball now. 0-2 to Nugent. Part of that incredible battery, Carlin Pickens, Sophia Nugent, a great relationship that they've developed. And Nugent, who's a strong offensive threat as well, grounds out to second base, and that ends the inning. But it's Tennessee striking on the board first. We've got a 1. Are you kidding? In her career. I said, well, do you still keep up? Do you still talk? It's like, yeah, you know, we're cool. We chat a little bit. It's my girl. But this weekend, obviously, it's a little different. And folks, just so you are aware, this is what Carly Spade did in her time at Miami of Ohio. 250 RBI. We talked about the home run numbers. Nearly 400 career batting average. Unbelievable stuff. So now she's in her Lady Ball orange, looking on Reagan Milliken, who she played with last year. Down the count, 1-2. The pitch, and just over the head of the second baseman, Ella Dodge. And the leadoff base hit for Milliken. She had a leadoff home run yesterday back in the second to get the Buckeyes on the board. And here in the second, she leads it off with a single.
You saw Veerstra, Courtney Veerstra, the assistant coach, standing in the dugout. This is also her first year coming over with 2K, and not only did she coach with 2K at Miami, but actually played for 2K at Miami, wanted to be a teacher after graduating, and Karen Kumar talked her to join in this staff, said that she just continued to get better every single year in a jersey. And not everybody has the ability to teach this game after living it, but Courtney Veerstra had the knack to be a coach.
A tremendous asset that she has been to this program as Caitlin Farley, the second baseman, back to Pickens. Good defense there, flips it over, and one away.
We had a lot of fun talking to Ohio State. I think you and I know how to have a good time no matter who's sitting across from us, but there was just something really special about this Ohio State team, their connection with this coaching staff. Their trust in Karen Kumar was so apparent from the first time we sat down to dive in to some questions. I mean, again, stepping in, first-year head coach here at Ohio State, and specifically Cami Quartercracks in the 3-hole for Ohio State said, you just can't not believe in this head coach because she believes in herself. What this squad has done this year has been pretty impressive.
Well, the turnaround so impressive. So we talked about the limited innings for Kennedy K in the circle. 3 returning starters, among them Cami Quartercracks. They finished 11th in the Big Ten last year. Kumar comes in. They're on the verge of finishing 3rd. They come up 4th spot. But they also took on this why not us type of mentality. So they've stayed true to the process, trusted their head coach Karen Kumar, and great things continuing to happen.
It's been all season long too, a 40-plus win season for this squad. Part of the Big Ten record of sending 8 teams to the NCAA tournament this season.
When you think about those wins, I mean, that's 4th best in program history and the most that they've won as a program since 2009. Pickens steps back in, and the payoff pitch to Sammy Buick. Buick fouls it off. Sophomore out of McMurray, PA.
And then you get into the offensive stats of this team that are just eye-popping. They lead the nation. Total runs scored, home runs, RBIs. but 2K was quick to interrupt me after me stroking the ego of the pop at the plate. She said, but also I want you to know we lead the nation in walks too. Don't forget that. I mean, check that out. It is a clean sweep at the top of the NCAA categories for this squad. Very impressive numbers.
And Buick, a good AB here, battling with Pickens. And again, if you're just tuning in, and why is this such a fun matchup? Well, you think Ohio State hitters have had 20 home runs in the last 8 games. Tennessee's staff overall,
kind of that secret weapon that makes her speed so dominant. And I did a little digging. 5 home runs that Carlin Pickens has given up all year, not a single one of those off of an off-speed pitch. And that's the nature of speed, right? You throw some heat into the plate. If you're going to make contact, it's liable to go somewhere. We really haven't seen Pickens go to the changeup yet. Now, granted, early in this game, I'll be interested to see if there's some adjustments made from Ohio State if Pickens starts to go more to that off-speed.
Morgan Fry, first pitch swinging, and the double play. Pickens loving it. Great job from Panel. Due up here in this inning for Tennessee, and we saw some upsets and surprises yesterday. North Florida, their first time ever in an NCAA tournament. They upset Virginia 2-1. And of course, Southeastern Louisiana, that was a big one. It faced off against LSU. Went to extras earlier in the season. But a 4-3 decision there. Then we also saw a number of games ending in the run rule variety, 14 in total, the most in a regional opener since the current format switched over to Supers in 2005 as a leadoff base hit here in the bottom of the second for McKenna Gibson.
We also saw the no-hitter run rule that A&M had against St. Francis. 18 runs scored in that ball game, plus a no-hitter. My goodness, what a day one.
What?
Wow.
One. So that's only setting up for an incredible day 2, and a lot of fun matchups around. I think Texas, Michigan is one that I'm keeping my eye on. Georgia and Duke. A very tough Liberty team taking on the #1 overall seed, Texas A&M.
Liberty Bibberty? I could not. I had to. Those commercials are too good.
Yeah. Laura Mueller, you hear chants of her name here in Sherry Parker Lee Stadium, and boy, she was dynamic yesterday. And yeah, let's take you back to this grand salami.
Does it get more grand than that? This is part of that opposite field power that we saw on display yesterday from all 3 teams. Already hard enough to take the ball out of this yard. It's big field, plays large, 220 dead center. But the fact that Mueller could get a ball out of here outside of her power alley.
And I love how you also told the story, Aaron, just about Mueller, who started her career at Middle Tennessee, and then last year, her first season with the Lady Vols, was still trying to kind of find her way, and how she fit in this program, one of the perennial powers in college softball, 8 Minutes College World Series, and where she has certainly settled in her senior campaign, the senior out of Chapel Hill, Tennessee. They do pop out to second base, and Mueller is retired.
Emma Clark stepping in now was one of those freshmen that put on quite a display yesterday. A couple doubles on the day.
Karen Weekly was very clear after yesterday's game. She said Emma Clark is going to be a star. And she's got natural abilities and the mental game, but she's also bringing everything else that comes with it. She's competitive. She doesn't dwell on mistakes. Her talent was illuminated yesterday, as you mentioned. Going 2 for 3. ready for the 0-1 pitch. Ball 1. This group finishing 4th in the regular season out of the SEC took a quick exit after having a double bye in the tournament to Arkansas. It was their highest seed in the tournament at number 4. But when you look over the body of work of this Tennessee team, is trying to get back to the Women's College World Series the first time since 2023. And an emphatic start to this weekend.
Back to that freshman conversation too, in our in-game interview with Karen Weekly yesterday, she mentioned the term fearless, specifically around the freshmen that are in this 1 through 9, the impact they've had this season on this squad.
On the 3-1 pitch, lifts it high into left field. Underneath it is Hadley Parisian, 2 away.
Earlier this season, I had a chance to do the Tennessee-Mississippi State matchup, and she talked about this term, woe than go. I would rather the aggressiveness of this freshman class pull the trigger and me have to pull in the reins than continue to try and ask for effort. And this freshman class for Tennessee embodies that. I'd rather have woe than go.
Woe than go. I love all the things that coaches come up with because they've got to be original, and sometimes they recycle information too, but it's a great way to describe our freshman class. Gabby Leach coming in from the left side, and of course Karen Weekly has coached her other siblings, including her sister Alana, who's on the team, but Kelsey and Aubrey as well. Some great Lady Vols.
Starting to see Kennedy K in the circle mix a little bit more off speed, a 54 mile an hour curve there compared to the 65 mile an hour screw rise.
She's ahead in the count. The 0-2 pitch is high for ball 1. Leach sends this one into center field, and that ends the inning. So the leadoff single stranded. Tennessee still up 1. The star-studded sophomores of Reese and Clark return to the court for must-see television, much like on the softball diamond here today between Tennessee and Ohio State. Carlin Pickens, one of the best pitchers in the country. Ohio State, the best home run hitting team in the country, to go along with a number of offensive numbers that are just eye-popping and impressive.
Well, if you're wondering how Ohio State is able to put up these numbers, we asked those hard-hitting questions. Don't you worry.
Was grounded out to second base, and Skylar Lamone is retired.
Although I regret to report that 2K did not give us anything earth-shattering other than we do the same reps like everybody else. We got the PVCs, we got the wooden bats, we do all the things. We just do those reps better. And that fired me up.
Swag.
But that, I'm going to tell y'all for listening in, that is the level of clear and direct communication that we get from Kieran Kumar.
Ella Dodge had to run back to the dugout, which is why there is a pause in the action. The redshirt freshman out of Bradenton. Can't see from this angle, but something needed to be addressed. It is
a cue card.
Now good.
Potentially a pitch call card. You can see that on the wrist, glove side. It may help to know what pitch is coming. I would imagine that would be a good piece of info to have at second base.
Conversation you and I were having, just going to that hitting conversation as Taylor Cruz up to bat. This is a player who's hit 4 home runs in her last 7 games. But how they would respond to Carlin Pickens because she provides so much velocity. You talked about, hey, she's thrown the fastest pitch ever in softball history, right? 78.2 miles per hour. I mean, she dances with 70 miles per hour plus quite a bit throughout her career and this season. So would that provide the power for these big booming bats?
You know, I think that's what us as fans and viewers would anticipate, right? The fact that this is an arm that can hum the ball up to 78 miles an hour. You've got a team that knows how to elevate this ball out of the yard. But the mind game at the plate for Ohio State is that they don't have to swing harder. You see that swing from Taylor Cruz. It's a ball elevated out of the zone. And I think the knee-jerk reaction when facing speed like Carlin Pickens is you feel the need to swing more aggressively, to swing bigger or harder or faster. And in fact, you almost have to relax into it. You got to shorten things up. You got to get more athletic. There's no need to overdo it. She's supplying the velocity.
That was the third strikeout for Pickens. Hadley Parisian struck out to start this game as we're back to the top of the order for the Buckeyes. Swing and a miss there. And Pickens, who entered today with a .91 ERA. We talked about where she is on the national scene, the noise that she has made since entering this program. She keeps getting better and better. A star indeed. The 1-2 pitch from Pickens. And gets Parisian again. And do you see the joy in the circle from Carlin Pickens? She says, that's an indication that you know I'm on my game today.
It's a fourth K of
coming into this season. Right now, her off speed has been working well. When you saw that explosion from Tennessee yesterday, what did you like from her performance thus far?
Yeah, when she hits her spots and keeps the ball low, she can beat anybody. So, you know, when you leave it up at the waist, so she's done a really good job of hitting her spots.
Coach, offense now one time through the order against Pickens. If you could identify one thing that's got to change at the plate, what is it?
Swinging at the pitches that are strikes. Like, she'll leave the ones there, but I think we've let too many go by, and then swinging at bad pitches. So, I mean, she's the best pitcher in the country, facing one of the best offenses. So it's, you know, it's one of those things. She has like a .92 ERA. So, yeah.
Thanks so much, Coach. We appreciate the time. As always, and Kieran Kumar is it's just that simple, right? She just gave us the storyline of why you're watching, and this is what my team needs to do. This is that adjustment that they have to make. Kumar, who played her ball at Georgia Tech, and now leading this Ohio State program. First pitch swinging there.
You know, it's funny, sometimes you chat with coaches before tournaments or even in game. You get a lot of the coach speak. You don't get it from 2K. I mean, you really get that down-to-earth, honest feedback, honest answers from her, even there, of, hey, this is the best arm in the country, facing my offense. It's got the best numbers in the country. Let's go. Let's battle it out. And that's exactly the drama of this matchup.
But that's what her players feed off of, right? They've bought into the way she does things. And obviously, I went back and asked her because, you know, she's like an offensive-minded person. She's found great success no matter where she's gone. I mean, you look at the numbers from her days at Miami of Ohio. They went and won, you know, MAC championship after MAC championship, and she's translated that to now her time at Ohio State as the base hit by Ella Dodge to lead things off. But I said, how'd you get into softball in the first place? She said, well, a friend of mine had a sister who played it, so I wanted to give it a try because all I knew was cricket growing up. Obviously really big in India. Her dad played it quite a bit, and she was just like, well, something about softball just spoke to me. So I just kept on with it.
She's a competitor. I mean, you get the sense in having a conversation with her. She runs a tight ship. She has clear expectations, clear communication. even some of her quirks. I mean, this is a team that's hit now 143 plus home runs, leading the nation, and she said, we do not celebrate at home plate. We do not allow that team to come out of the dugout, pile out of the dugout, and celebrate at home plate. Does anybody want to do that 143 times? We give the big O celebration when that hitter returns back into our dugout space, and the only time we celebrate at home plate is if it wins us a ball game, if it ends a ball game early.
Well, Tennessee has sprinkled 3 hits throughout their lineup. Kenzie Fiedler was one of them, had a double her first time up. But Kennedy K has done a nice job of hitting her spots, as you heard Coach 2K mention.
Ella Dodge, leadoff single. That's one of those freshmen, the woe versus go. I mean, just such an incredible season at the bottom of that order, and the 9-hole has turned over this lineup so consistently for Tennessee.
And the consistency that we've seen. I mean, they've gotten 3 straight innings now with the leadoff runner aboard.
In fact, Karen Weekly telling me that Ella Dodge is one of those that will make mistakes, but it's because of her aggressiveness. And Coach is okay with that. In fact, Coach Karen Weekly celebrates it, that there's a fearlessness again with these freshmen, and Ella Dodge really embodies it. I can remember that freshman year. I can remember that feeling of not wanting to make a misstep, not wanting to be wrong, being timid in my talent. And to see fellow freshmen step into a new environment, have that jersey across their chest, and embrace who they are, and to feel that freedom to go for it, speaks to the environment that Karen Weekly has really built.
And Fiedler strikes out. Kennedy K registers her first strikeout of the day.
I mean, going against Kenzie Fiedler, who doubled to start this game back in the first. This is a perfectly placed screwball, breaks away from the lefty. I mean, Tiff, we've been talking about the mix of the off-speed and that 65-mile-an-hour rise in screw, and I think she's done a great job of locating both of those pitches.
And Kamar and this Buckeye defense making that defensive swap between second and third. That's one of the areas where she said we've got to tighten up and make sure we're on point this weekend, is to make sure we have our defense intact. They had 5 miscues in the Big Ten tournament. Said that can't happen. That can't be if we're going to continue on.
This is part of that defensive swap we mentioned yesterday. 2K coming out of the dugout to report that to home plate umpire. Yesterday that was not reported, and out was taken off the board. We had to resume an inning because of the lack of defensive change being reported to the home plate umpire.
Savia Morgan, part of that freshman class that you were talking about. And there's this type of energy that comes into your program every year that you welcome in freshmen to.
Well, energy coming in the form of speed with Savia Morgan, 25 stolen bases on the year.
And this one into the outfield, lifted. Parisian is there, and now 2 away.
Yeah, just barely flagged down by Parisian, who pinched in just a hair in the outfield, but the pop of Morgan has got to be honored. A good solid drop step and able to catch that over the head in left field.
She's had a couple of close calls today. One kind of just in the heel of the glove earlier, and now able to corral that one.
So back to the original positions between second and third base.
Now batting third baseman number 3, Taylor Pannell.
And Taylor Pannell is back up. She is responsible for the lone run of the game so far, the RBI sac fly back in the first.
That one missed. This has been a pretty consistent zone for both Pickens and Kay.
Carlos Guzman behind the plate. The 2-0 pitch. Panel now ahead in the count. 3-0. Let's see if she takes all the way or gets the green light. And a 4-pitch walk. So now 2 on, 2 out. You got Sophia Nugent, and remember, she was inches away from smashing a home run into left field. And a quick conversation between the battery of Kay and Jazzy Burns. But then you go back to yesterday, and well, she was successful in launching it out of the park.
She cleared the scoreboard, Tiffany. I mean, this ball was absolutely crushed. Her first at bat today, it was that towering ball that cleared the park that was called foul. And keep in mind, the fact that that ball was so high above the foul pole, unable to be challenged. You cannot go to a replay on anything taller than the foul pole, because from our vantage point, that ball looked a little fair. She's been red hot, not just lately, but all season long. 15 home runs on the year, a transfer coming over from Oklahoma, won 2 titles with the Sooners. And so good for Tennessee behind the plate. In fact, Carlin Pickens giving all of the credit to Sophia Nugent and her development this season in her junior year.
And I'd imagine that being on the receiving end of, you know, a 78-mile-per-hour pitch or 75, I mean, she hits that too. Can't be easy.
I'd love to just look at the glove hand of Sophia Nugent. I just wonder if there's any bruising or some calluses that have maybe formed.
I mean, it's 8 straight balls now thrown by Kennedy Kay. So now it loads the bases, back-to-back walks. Ella Dodge started off this inning with a single. She's at third. Panel moved over to second to make way for Nugent. And Courtney Vierstra, who has done a nice job with developing the pitching staff, is talking it over because Boo Gibson is coming up.
I mean, this is exactly why they're having a discussion in the circle. You got bases juiced, and this is who's stepping into the box. Boo Gibson is it for Tennessee. A senior, a leader, done a great job of staying level-headed in big moments, and I'd say this is a huge moment for Lady Vols.
Incredibly huge moment. I mean, you think about it was Boo Gibson yesterday who was the catalyst that got Tennessee on the board and the scoring party started, and these are her career numbers. 44, tied with our very own Madison Shipman for her career, and she's looking to maybe add to that total with a big cut.
Karen Weekly describes her as one of the most steady mentalities on the team, can handle pressure-filled moments. This is who you'd want in the box.
For the record, Tennessee has 3 Grand Slams this season. Kennedy Kay, though, happy to see that one go in for a strike after having a tough time in the zone with the last 2 batters. A single already today for Gibson. Hard hit over to second base, flipped over to Farley, and gets the much needed and necessary out to end the inning, and that quells the threat there. It's still 1-0 Tennessee.
Putting time in the pen. I mean, it really has come down to just the reps and the drills that Carlin Pickens has committed herself to through now 3 seasons at Tennessee in her junior year.
So in addition to that strength, she's got long levers as well, standing at 6'1", 6'2". And you saw a quick glimpse of pitching coach Megan Rhodes Smith in the dugout. When she first came in, they worked really hard to prioritize her fastball, right? And since they've nailed that down, she's been able to use some of those other pitches more frequently. But I love also what Karen Weekly said. It's the coachability of a player like Carlin Pickens, a star in the sport of softball, who can take feedback and funnel it through, help her grow and expand her game. She's very open to that.
Well, she's had an evolution in her 3 seasons here. In the Orange 2023 freshman year, it really was the fastballs, establishing pitch locations, establishing that speed. Sophomore year, she utilized the drop. That was one of her best chase pitches all season long, sophomore year. And this year, it's been the rise ball. Rise ball has been on fire. I mean, 3 of the 4 Ks so far against Ohio State have been upstairs, have challenged them above the letters. And right now, facing Jazzy Burns, 2-2 count. I mean, Burns went yard twice yesterday.
Well, it's not often that this Ohio State team is shut out in consecutive innings, but talking about Carlin Pickens, she struck out 3 of the last 4 batters she's faced. That one, her 5th of the day.
I noticed the location of this. This is a drop ball. It falls right off the table under the hands of Jasmine Burns. This is 2 strikeouts now for Jazzy Burns. The first one up and out of the strike zone with the rise, and now Pickens coming in under the hands right at the knees. Here's the off-speed pitch, 63 miles an hour. So, I mean, to put that in perspective, that is a pretty middle-of-the-road fastball speed that's consistent in the sport of softball, and that is the off-speed pitch of Carlin Pickens.
Right back to Pickens, the backhand of the glove, and quarter cracks. Goes back to the dugout. And I think, too, what elevates the intrigue of this matchup, if you're just tuning in, number 7, Tennessee, has one of the best pitchers in the country. And thus far, she's only allowed 1 hit against the best power hitting team in the country. They lead the nation in home runs. They lead the nation in runs scored, averaging 8 a game.
This team also leads the nation in walks, but in knowing who is in the circle. Carlin Pickens has had 237 strikeouts this year. She's only walked 52 batters that she's faced. You're not going to see a lot of walks. And this is an Ohio State team that's going to have to be ready to pull trigger. And you heard from Coach Karen Kumar in our mid-game interview that, yeah, we're ready to take swings. We just got to make sure that what we swing at is in the strike zone. We cannot chase pitches up and out of the zone.
The 0-2 to Milliken. Indecisive there, doesn't matter. Caught looking, 6th K of the day. Carlin Pickens is rolling. Pickens, the way that she performs in the circle. Are you in awe oftentimes of just the way that she's able to command the way she does?
I'm just blessed. I'm blessed to have a front row seat for this journey with Carlin Pickens. She is unbelievably competitive, humble, self-aware, honest, an awesome teammate. I just can't say enough good things about her.
Coach, we saw 1 through 9 production from this squad in day 1, but right now a 1-run lead. What does it take right now offensively to get a little bit more of an insurance?
We've got the leadoff runner on every inning, and I think we're not making bad swing decisions, but I'd like to see us get our barrel out a little bit more. I think we can do more damage, so just swinging free and letting it fly.
Thanks so much, Coach.
Yep, thank you.
She's always got some good insight for us anytime we hit her with some mid-game questions. I agree. I think the barrel control right now of this team, the leadoff has not been the problem. The last 3 innings, they have set the table, and it just has not been the barrel execution, passing the bat behind those leadoff hitters.
But when we came into this broadcast, we talked about the bottom of both teams' orders and the way that they were able to produce. Laura Mueller, who had that grand slam yesterday, leads it off here. Emma Clark, Gabby Leach, due up. All who have already registered meaningful hits, big hits so far this weekend. And so they're going to maybe lean on the bottom of the order to to continue.
You know, the other interesting thing is we saw the use of the sacrifice bunt yesterday twice with leadoffs on. We have not seen that here in day 2. Granted, some fundamental offense back in the first inning after that double from Fiedler. Sac fly from Taylor Panel to score that run, but the short game has not been a card that Karen Weekly has drawn.
Well, 3 balls and no strikes now to Laura Mueller. Kay delivers strike 1. A player who graduated already this spring, part of the leadership committee for this team, and redshirt junior is battling away here with Laura Mueller, who hits it to the net behind home plate. She'll get another crack. The Lady Vols fans always come through, right? So you gotta love this get up. I mean, Lady Vols locos are so much fun. Fans are great. Leadoff walk to Mueller. Third round coverage of the 107th PGA Championship from Quail Hollow. Third round coverage continues all day on ESPN and ESPN Plus. Jonathan Vegas leading at 8 under. So we've seen the kilts, and then we've seen the big orange.
Is it a peach or an
It
orange?
looked like a peach. It looked like a peach, but I'm just going to say it's an orange because I'm from Florida. So.
And the matching outfit, the print on the outfit was sliced oranges. So maybe it wasn't orange. I was back when I played, when we faced Tennessee, it was always the overalls, the checkered overalls. It's something that they're keeping us on our toes this weekend.
Express yourself any way you like. Well, you heard Karen Weekly, and well, there's the checkered variety on the headband, and then the shirt. They got the Tennessee orange Crocs. Well, Karen Weekly, you just heard her talk about getting the lead off batter aboard in now each of the 4 innings. So Mueller with a free pass and then advances to second base on the wild pitch. Can they produce? They were able to manufacture a run back in the first inning. Fiedler led off with a double. Savia Morgan moved her over, and then textbook softball, Taylor Panel with the RBI sac fly. That's how we get to this 1-0 score. The 2-1. Aaron Miller, Tiffany Green here with you. Man, this is a delightful day that we have on tap. We're looking forward to this, but also coming up next, Miami of Ohio and North Carolina playing for their postseason lives. Got 2 elimination games after this one concludes.
Emma Clark has just continued to get better and better as this season has unfolded. 55 games. She started 25, and it's really been in the last month. Batted 100 in March, uptick to 200 in April, and now hitting 250 through the month of May. And she has really locked it down in that 7 spot for the Lady Vols.
Did you see this? That's Miami of Ohio, MAC champions, and is that Coach Megan Smith-Lyon, the head
believe.
coach for North Carolina. That's close proximity.
Enemy territory.
Yeah, for teams that are about to battle. Next, the chopper from Clark over to second. And one down. So now you saw Mueller get on with that walk. She took advantage of that wild pitch. And then Emma Clark moving her teammate over to third. We'll see if Karen Weekly's crew can tack on some more insurance with Gabby Leach now at the plate. First pitch swinging up the middle, the RBI single for Leach. It's 2-0 Tennessee.
This is back to that barrel control that Karen Weekly mentioned to us. Leadoff gets on. That has been the trend. 4 for 4 through 4 innings with the leadoff working their way on base. It's the combination of heads-up base running from Mueller, being able to take the extra 60 feet, the hard ground ball of your freshman Emma Clark, and then Gabby Leach coming up with a screamer up the middle of this infield.
9-hole hitter Ella Dodge over to second base. The 4-3 put out and 2 away. So there's Leach in scoring position. Back to the top of the order. And Tennessee executing here in the bottom of the 4th. They hung one in the 1st. And now have one here. And Kenzie Fiedler already with a double today.
She bats 400 with runners on. I mean, this is a bat at the top of the order that knows how to produce when it matters.
Check swing, now 1-1. Came in from Washington for the start of the season. A few years with the Huskies, and now senior is with the Lady Vols. The 1-1 over to quarter, cracks the throw to first in time, and that ends the inning, but not before Gabby Leach tacks on an extra run. Tennessee on top. As Special K continues to wow us all. She's got a 1-hit gem coming into the top of the 5th. Again, it's been 30-plus straight innings since she's allowed an earned run. The question mark for this Ohio State team is how they can figure out, crack the code against Carlin Pickens. Caitlin Farley, the 7th strikeout victim of the afternoon for the Buckeyes.
You know, I had asked Carlin Pickens, when you are at your best, when you feel like all of your stuff is on, what typically has to be there for you in the circle? What are you feeling? And she said, honestly, it's just joy. If you ever see me in the circle not smiling, not being communicative, or using my voice to connect with those teammates around me, you know I'm in trouble. But typically I am at my best, I feel my best, I throw my best. I am the best version of me when there is joy present.
I love that, because you often hear when you fall in love with the game, and sometimes the rigor and the grind can get to you, but if you go back to the reason why you started playing in the first place and you tap into that, it unlocks a whole nother level again. And let's credit Carlin Pickens. Yes, we know that she is a heat thrower, gas all the time, but she has defended her position well in the field.
Yeah, it is having that 5th infielder in the circle. She can protect herself on the dirt. I mean, that's a backhand away from her, able to throw across the diamond. It was funny, you know, while Carlin was answering that question, Karen Weekly interrupted her and said, listen, she won't brag on herself, but this kid is coachable. That is her strong suit. She's never too good to be coached. She's a tremendous teammate, and beyond any physical talent she has, the hill that Karen Weekly will die on is who she is as a woman. Carlin Pickens challenged herself this year to be, above all else, an incredible teammate, and that really is what Karen Weekly focuses on every time we talk about this arm.
Well, it's resonated, and right now, she is keeping these Ohio State Buckeye bats at bay. And typically, this is a time of the ball game where they get stronger, right? So the second time through the order, once you figure things out and you know what the strike zone is and you kind of get settled in, that's where Ohio State thrives. And we saw that come true with Morgan Fry yesterday with that home run, and here the first base runner allowed since the second inning, which was via a walk as well.
I think this was a borderline call. Not happy was Carlin Pickens about this pitch. That's a great look right there. I mean, just outside of the wide of that plate through the river. That's a really good call by the home plate umpire, Carlos Guzman. A heck of an eye. And a great walk from Morgan Fry.
Two out, one on. Skylar Lamone, the center fielder, up. She grounded out to second. Her last time up. Now 0-2. And if you watch Carlin Pickens work in the circle, I mean, she doesn't take a lot of time. You know, she kind of does her stroll outside, her whole routine, and she comes back in and she's back ready to fire off. The 0-2 offering. A little high for ball one. And Buick, or Lamone rather, goes down swinging. Carlin Pickens has been masterful this afternoon.
Make it 8 Ks for Carlin Pickens. In control, a 2-run lead for Tennessee. We go to the bottom of the 5th.
To push, and so the leadoff again aboard for Tennessee. Savia Morgan bunting it right back and kind of put it in a no man's land, and boom.
Well, it's the combination of the barrel control, where she places this bunt, but it's the speed for Savia Morgan. 25 stolen bases on the year. It just never sleeps. It is so hard to defend those legs.
Morgan, all smiles there. She had a career stolen base numbers of 175 coming into this program, so Karen Weekly knew that she was going to get some wheels in Morgan. We'll keep an eye on her if she decides to take off with Taylor Panel. Great offensive leader for this team all season long. She got Tennessee on the board first. And how about Taylor Panel laying down the sack bunt, thrown out at first. That was a close play indeed, and Karen Weekly immediately coming out of the dugout and saying, hey, let's review that one. Your power hitter.
Tennessee is challenging the call on the field of out at first base.
I think she's safe. I think she's safe in looking at that review.
That was Stephanie Sanders standing over at first. Immediately after that play was completed, signaling to Karen Weekly at third to go to the headset to get a review on this call. So the call on the field is out, and I think there may be enough to overturn this call.
I do too. I do too. From that zoom in right there, you see the ball in the top right part of your screen. It's not there in the glove yet, and Taylor Panels cleat touched the base, and so we'll go back to the Brain Trust in Pittsburgh to review this and find out what the call will be. But again, here, boom, touch.
Another great look.
But if so, I mean, Taylor Panel's been in search of a hit this weekend.
Yeah.
And if she's being called safe, if it's overturned, wow. And we get the call right here.
After review, the call on the field has been changed. The runner is safe. Tennessee's first challenge.
And you see the exuberance from Taylor Panel, because again, she went 0 for 2 yesterday and then gets on via a bunt single, and she's, oh yeah. How about the dugout sending the energy over to Taylor at first.
The next batter for UT is the catcher number 7, Sophia Nugent.
So back-to-back bunt singles for the Lady Vols. And the hard-swinging Sophia Nugent at the plate. And again, another critical time in this game for Kennedy K in the circle. And while Tennessee has had their chances with runners on, they're 1 for 11. Pushing across the run, this one gets past Jazzy Burns, and each runner advances 60 feet. That's Savia Morgan at third.
You just can't give up free passes at this point in season, specifically against this caliber of talent. Both of these squads, free passes in way of errors, pass balls, walks, hit by pitches. The talent that makes it to this regional round, the ability offensively of these teams at this level, they're gonna take the free passes and they're gonna run with them. And you've got one of the best base stealers in the nation, Savia Morgan, standing now at third base.
And Sophia Nugent gets a hold of this one deep into center field, all the way back near the wall. And the RBI sac fly for Sophia Nugent. And 3 runs for the Tennessee Lady Vols, extending their lead.
You know, it was all long ball yesterday for Tennessee, and today it's been fundamental. It's been gap-to-gap power, it's been utilizing speed, it's been utilizing sacrifice flies. Understanding situationally what a team needs, what your team needs when your feet are in the box.
First pitch lined out off the bat of Gibson, the quarter cracks. 2 away. But that's critical what you said, because coaches oftentimes say, yeah, we've got to find different ways to win. And this Tennessee team showed yesterday that they could rock it out of the park via the long ball and extra base hits. But today, that fundamental softball is working out just as well here against a very tough Ohio State team. Laura Mueller, sharply hit, lasered up the middle. RBI single with 2 outs. And the Tennessee Lady Vols continuing to get it done. And the fans here on Rocky Top, they're digging it.
This ball's away out of the zone against Mueller. Not a bad pitch from the hand of Kay, but the plane of attack, that barrel control that Karen Weekly mentioned to us mid-game. It's there.
Through the 5-6 hole, first pitch swinging from Emma Clark. She's aboard with a base hit, and the inning continues.
These aren't big swings. These aren't overly aggressive swings, but they're smart swings. They're swings that have impact, swings that understand the situation. See Craig Snyder there. It's the first-year hitting coach for Tennessee. Joining this staff, coming over from being a head coach at Texas Tech, spent some time at Florida State. Won a title, actually, being on staff at Florida State. And has been a huge addition to this Lady Vol team.
You see the stops to your point of where Craig Snyder has been, and that was an adjustment for several of the players on this group. Chris Malveaux, who is now co-head coach, along with his wife Kate over at Auburn, was in that position last year. Craig Snyder comes in and puts his stamp on this Tennessee offense. And I'll tell you, this group has turned the page from that SEC tournament to now the most important season of the year in the postseason, to give themselves an opportunity to advance a 4-0 lead. Carlin Pickens, who has been a big story here today. Yes, we knew that this team was mighty, but they grow even stronger when they have Carlin Pickens in the circle. She's been outstanding here today. If you are wondering who is due up here for the Buckeyes, 9-1 and 2 due up. So that's Cruz, Parisian, and Burns. Each of them had a home run yesterday. We were exercising the home run call quite a bit from Sherry Parker Lee Stadium. As of now, none have left the yard here. But I'll say this Ohio State team, never out of the ball game. I mean, this is the nation-leading scoring team. They put up better than 8 runs a game. Shutout so far, but you know it takes one big swing, is handled by McKenna Gibson. Nice way to recover the 3U if you're scoring at home. An unassisted put out from McKenna Gibson, and 1 down.
This is a hot shot to the corner. Gibson having to follow this up the line, stay with the play to collect the out, and it is running out of opportunities right now for the Buckeyes.
And that one, just a casual play from Laura Mueller, tracking that ball well, quickly off the bat of Parisian. Good to hear.
Almost through the infield. Really good effort up the middle of this field from Mueller. Looks like she was trying to decide if that was going to be needed for a dive or not.
Well, by the numbers, Tennessee is 59-1 when leading through 5 innings over the last 25 NCAA tournament appearances, or games rather. And Jazzy Burns gets that one past a diving Taylor Panel. That's only the 2nd base hit, the first one coming since the 2nd inning.
I mean, at this point for Ohio State, it's going to take a pass-the-bat mentality. And for Jazzy Burns, striking out in the 1st, striking out in the 4th, needing to find some production. Doesn't have to be the long ball right now, but it's got to set this team up for opportunities to chip away at this 4-run deficit. I don't know who burnt the popcorn.
I'm not sure.
But it's here.
But it is, we've got a big whiff.
We've got the burnt popcorn whiff right now in the booth. The popcorn's been flowing. I've been seeing the shaved ice, the hot dogs, all the things. It's a great day for ball. A
Scotty Landmesser. You saw the pinch runner over at first base, Cami Quartercracks, the shortstop. Fly it out to center field first time up. And then hit a grounder back to Pickens back in the fourth. Big hack there. She's down the count 0-2. Cami Quartercracks, who Big Ten sportsmanship honoree. Delight to talk to, and another hot shot down the third baseline as Morgan falls down. And now runners at second and third here for the Buckeyes.
This is part of that pass the bat mentality that has to populate for Ohio State. This is a laced ball, seeing eyeball down the third base line. Look at that effort from Morgan. A last line of defense. She knew she was going to have to give chase, give up her body to keep that ball off the wall and to keep a run off the board for Ohio State. It's a big time play.
Going upstairs, could catch up to it. Reagan Milliken, who had the first hit for the Buckeyes back in the second. And good time to tell you that Carlin Pickens, who hasn't allowed an earned run in 34 straight innings, now facing the biggest threat of the game from the Buckeyes with 2 on, 2 out. And Milliken, one of their RBI leaders, at the plate. Big pitch here.
She's only given up 2 hits all year with runners on second and third.
Pickens delivers and fouled off by Milliken. Second team all Big Ten selection is Reagan Milliken. She's got 72 home runs on the season, tied with Jazzy Burns for the most on this team. Pop back and foul.
Meanwhile, Milliken batting .357 on the year with runners at second and third. Has had 15 of her 19 home runs with runners at second and third.
Another foul ball, and so this is a big, big moment in this ball game, and the Pickens family can feel it. Everybody in the stadium and watching on knows it. The 2-2 pitch on the way. High for ball 3. They asked did she go around. Heath Walker over at first says nope.
That is a huge take for Milliken. This is a pitch that Ohio State has been swinging at the first 4 or 5 innings of this game. They have chased that rise ball up and out of the zone, and Milliken able to lay off.
You know, one of the things that has made Ohio State so effective this season is the fact that they've been able to make adjustments pitch to pitch. Not at-bat to at-bat, but pitch to pitch. And that's what's given Reagan Milliken an opportunity here. The 11th pitch of the at-bat. Popped up. Is it in playing territory? Nugent sees it fall. So it was really close, and I think
that's a play that could be made. Keep in mind, a high sky, not a cloud in that blue sky right now. Makes that ball tough to read.
and credit Milliken, who continues to foul off pitches.
This again is where I'm waiting on that off-speed pitch to really show itself. It's been high heat, 72 to 77 miles an hour for 12 straight pitches.
Morgan, or Milliken rather, pulling it foul. And you can just feel this moment. It's palpable. Fans on both sides, everyone awaiting the outcome of this at-bat. And it's Milliken who rises to the occasion. Ohio State is on the board, and a little snafu there with handling from the catcher Nugent, and two come across. So now the Buckeyes split the lead in half. Reagan Milliken with the RBI single breaks the streak of 34 straight innings without an earned run from Pickens. And what a heck of an at-bat from Reagan Milliken.
That's the 16th RBI with runners at second and third for Reagan Milliken. I mean, understanding this moment, a pivotal moment in terms of momentum for Ohio State, who just has been unable to generate much of anything offensively. Out starting to run dry, down to their last 4 outs potentially of this ball game, and Milliken coming up in a 2-out situation and understanding that their back is against the wall.
Well, folks, if you're just tuning in, I mean, the stud in the circle has been Carlin Pickens, and she only allowed 1 hit through the first 5 innings. But here in the top of the 6th, we've seen 3 straight hits given up. A single by Jazzy Burns, the double from Cammie Quartercracks, and then that big swing to produce the first and then second runs of this game from Reagan Milliken.
Well, I go back to the pitch sequencing. I mean, we did not see a changeup that entire at-bat. 13 pitches to Milliken and not a single change of speed. It was just going to be a matter of time before she squared something up.
Caitlin Farley, towering fly ball into left, and that ends the inning. But this Ohio State team is still battling. They cut the lead in half. We move to the bottom of the 6th. And that was pivotal. That was a huge moment, because those were the first runs allowed for Tennessee in a regional game since 2023. You go back to last year, they had shutouts over Dayton, beat Virginia twice to win their regional and advance to the Supers. And so we'll see if that gives Ohio State just that little creak of that door of momentum to keep on rolling.
I've said this once already, and I don't know that I can say it enough. When you give 3 passes away at this point in season, at this stage of the game, teams are going to take it and run with it.
Over the leaping Milliken at first, and Kinsey Fiedler with a 1-out base hit.
Moose, just 1 more inch on that jump, that vertical.
Left fielder number 20,
So
Sophia
Fiedler's
Morgan.
2 for 4 today. And now Sophia Morgan, who laid down that bunt single to lead off last inning, came around to score on the sac fly from Nugent. Kennedy K readies. K ahead of the count, 0-2.
Right now for Tennessee, I mean, knowing the offensive prowess that is on the other side of this field. It doesn't feel like 2 runs of insurance is enough to get out of danger zone against Ohio State. They lead the nation in total runs scored, lead the nation in home runs, lead the nation in RBIs.
Well, folks, don't miss a moment or a minute of the action from the NCAA Softball Regionals. We'll take you to the best live action on the 7 Innings Live show on the ESPN app. You can see every moment and game on the road to the Women's College World Series only on the ESPN networks. 2 down for Taylor Panel. Panel fouls it back and was able to muster up her first base hit the last inning on a bunt single. Lines it into center field, and Kennedy K does her job to end the thread. 6, 7, and 8 due up for the Buckeyes. Top 10 finalists for National Player of the Year. And now she's facing off once more against this Ohio State team who's got 7 wins when trailing by 3 or more. And all you have to do is look back to yesterday when they were down by 3 to UNC. They came back to win. Here, smaller deficit, down by 2 runs. But do the Buckeyes have that comeback ability here to try to advance to their first regional appearance final since 2009? Well, coming in, we mentioned how well 7, 8, and 9 did. The bottom half of the order, you can look throughout, and it just hasn't really worked out well for them, as that's the 9th strikeout for Pickens. She's been picking them apart.
You know, we saw the changeup low in the zone for strike 2. It's a chase pitch low, got the bite, and then she comes back hard in on the hands. Just a really good sequence of speed and location. You talked about this earlier in the game too, Tiffany, the stature of Carlin Pickens. It's not only just the physical radar gun speed, it's the fact that she is halfway out of the circle by the time it comes out of the hand. All lower body, 6'1" plus, coming straight at you, leaping off the mound. I mean, it may be on the gun at 76, 75 miles an hour, but it feels like 80.
Fouled off by Morgan Fry, who was the hero yesterday. Hit that go-ahead 3-run blast to help Ohio State advance with a 9-6 decision to face Tennessee here today. And this one, high. The communication, maybe some mix-up there by the shortstop rather, and third baseman Mueller and Panel. And Morgan Fry ends up at second base in scoring position.
And there's a lot to pick apart here. One, you gotta have more communication. That, in my opinion, if Morgan in left field has the ability to leg this ball out, she has the best momentum moving through that catch. If it's not Morgan, it's Mueller at shortstop. Mueller is your leader of the infield. And you could even hear Sophia Nugent behind the plate saying, "You've got room, you've got room, you've got room, you've got room," and no one took the initiative to call off that ball. You also got to tip your cap to Morgan Fry. She never put on the brakes. That is why you sprint out every single ball that is put in play. She now has herself standing in scoring position.
Game changer yesterday, perhaps. This could turn the tide for Ohio State, trailing by 2. 2 outs to work with. Skylar Lamone for today. And that one goes off the top of Nugent's mask, off that foul ball. Shakes it off. Part of the job.
A really important part of this order for Ohio State. Lamone fouls that off. Looks like it hits the top. Nugent's glove.
Biggest moment of her career up until this point for Skylar Lamone, the junior, getting her first opportunity this season to start. She's made the most of it so far. And right now, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Carlin Pickens is commanding in the circle, delivers the pitch, draws full.
Right now, for Skylar Lamone, it's finding a way to get on. When you got some of your biggest home run numbers standing on deck and then turning this lineup over back to Parisian and Burns with 20 home runs on the year apiece.
And the strikeout, 10th of the day. Double-digit Ks for Carlin Pickens in the circle. And Ohio State down to their final out.
Pickens just had to go at Lamone right here. There was no other options. Pickens, knowing the power that awaits her on deck in the hole, needed to go straight at Lamone to collect that second out of the inning.
First pitch swinging for Taylor Cruz, and that does it. The Tennessee Lady Vols advancing to their 19th regional final tomorrow afternoon with a 4-2 decision over Ohio State. Tennessee put together the offense